Hey guys, as promised, right back, picking up from where we left off. So I ended with um, talking about friends and whatnot. For this portion of my story, I guess I'll dig a little bit more into my personal experience, more personal experiences with fibromyalgia and sacrifices. I guess you can call them sacrifices or whatever. Personal experiences is I remember the doctor, my gyno actually. He had been my doc from when I gave him birth to my son. I remember he told me that his wife had fibro, and I was like, really? And that was like the second time I'd heard of someone having it, and I'm like, okay, how does she deal with it, And at the time I was seeing my doc, as I explained in the early video, some of the symptoms that you can have is painful menstruals. And every month I was climbing the walls with pain. A few times I'd be, have the ambulance come take me to the hospital because I'd black out. And it was insane pain. And so I had to have the test to see if I had cysts or any of that, and I didn't. And I had, when I was 21, I got my tubes tied, and don't tell me that, you can't get your tubes tied deal at 21. It's know your law, basically. If you know the law in your state, then doctors can't tell you anything. So let's just say that. So I had my tubes tied at 21, and I already knew that I didn't want any more children. I'm not a big, lot of children having type of person. And when I turned 24, around the time I was diagnosed, well, I guess I was diagnosed before that then, if that. Okay, so I must have been diagnosed in 2002, and I believe I said 04. It's somewhere in between that time, because in 2004, or leading up to 2004, I had been speaking with my doctor about the pain that I was feeling, and we were taking medications, birth controls here and there, and this medication and that medication, and this procedure and that procedure, and nothing could stop the intense pain that I was feeling. And my doc gave me a year. He said, in a year, if we don't see any improvement, we'll go to the next step. And I'm like, okay, all right. We took all the medications that I could take. Nothing. I was getting worse. My pain was getting worse. It was unbearable to take. Every month it was like fibro times 6,000, and I could not function. And so my doc sat down with me and said it's been a year, and so the next step is a hysterectomy. And I immediately said yay, because I wanted the pain to stop. And I knew what a hysterectomy was. But I had to do just a little bit more research, because there was the full hysterectomies, the partials, the whatnot. So we made the schedule for me to have a supracervical laparoscopic hysterectomy, which was a lasered hysterectomy, and they only took out the uterus, and they did so with a tiny scar about that big, where they stuck, it was about 2 scars, and they stuck lasers into me, and they lasered my uterus and broke it up into tiny pieces and sucked it out. Very graphic, I guess. Sorry. So that's why it was called the supracervical laparoscopic hysterectomy. And 24 is very young to have had that procedure, and yeah, I was pretty young to have had that procedure. And even though I didn't want any more children, making that decision wasn't hard. What was hard was dealing with the decision after it was made. And everybody kept telling me, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? It's permanent, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling them, if you felt what I felt pain-wise, there wouldn't be an option. There would be no other choice. And so, So I went ahead with the procedure, and I was okay with it. I was ready. You know, my doc, I got there in the morning, and my doc told me what was going to happen, and I was like, all right, let's go for it. And I remember waking up, and the nurse was over me, and she said, "How you feeling?" And the words that came out of my mouth, I didn't even know was in my head. And I started crying, and I told her I don't feel whole anymore. And she said, "Oh, baby." And she rubbed my head and said it'll be okay. And it did not dawn on me um, that taking my uterus was taking a part of my womanhood. It didn't dawn on me at first. Even though I knew that I didn't want to have kids anymore, being a woman is what separates us from the men, physically. Boobs, I mean, come on, hips, the ability to bear children, whether you want to or not, the physical organs in you, you know, that separates you from men. And when I lost that ability, I lost a part of my womanhood. And I want it back. And I know that I can't have it back. And when it happened, I had no one to talk to about it. I never brought up my hysterectomy with anyone because no one ever asked. I didn't have a support system of anyone to say, "How do you feel?" And so I just silently dealt with it and said, it is what it is, you know? I cried a lot. And, you know, it may sound crazy for me to say this, but I don't miss that monthly visit. But I wouldn't mind having it back. And I say that because that's the part of my womanhood, you know, and I had that taken from me. It was my choice, but I didn't have any other option. You know, suffer pain every month far more than what you suffer already. Or choose not to suffer pain, but lose a part of your womanhood. So my choices wasn't very grand. Fibro has taken a lot from me. And that's that mourning part, that saying goodbye to the person you used to be. But losing part of my womanhood makes me feel useless as a woman. You know, I'm only 30, and it's just, sorry, it's hard to talk about, but I want to talk about it because it's a part of what fibro did to me and what it has done to other women. And, you know, when you have people that say it's not real or it's all in people's heads, it just pisses you off. Because you sit and you go, what if you motherfuckers gave up? You know, what if you non-believers had to sacrifice? What physical conditions and surgeries that you have to go through for you to have the audacity to say it is all in our head, you know? to wake up and to have a part of your body removed, part of who you are taken away from you from some fucking condition, is not in your head. That's not in your head. That's real. And you gotta deal with it. I have to deal with it. And fibro just keeps taken away from me. I can't wear high heels anymore. My ankles have gotten to the point where I feel like I'm walking on shards of glass every day. And doctors don't know what it is yet. They just say it's fibro-related. It's not arthritis. I don't have any broken bones. All scans point to normal. But I feel like my legs are broken. And so I had to give up another part of my womanhood, my high heels. And it may be something so petty to you, but what woman doesn't want to get dressed up and put on a pretty dress and put on some pretty heels and go out and enjoy herself with her man and with the girls? And so I don't go out anymore because I don't feel pretty enough. And I know that's probably the stupidest thing to you. But it's not about other people seeing me this way. It's about me wanting to be that way, wanting to be dressed up, wanting to be in my heels, wanting to feel like a woman. When my uterus was taken, it was, you know what, I still have my boobs, you know, and I think about like women who have mastectomies, and I don't want to say I know how they feel, but I want to say I know how they feel as of having a part of you taken away from you, a part of you that makes you a specific way, or a part of you that it's you, it's your body, you know. That's what it feels like not having my insides the way they should be. Is I feel, you know, I don't feel whole, and so and then, you know, not being able to wear high heels. It's like, it's one fucking thing after the next. And then I have this, my arm. We're closing up on the 15 minutes that I give myself for every video. So I'll end this one now, and then I'll start the next video explaining why I have this on my hand, and give you a little bit more depth about that. Hopefully my story is coming to an end. It's like on the 4th video, so my apologies for that. I wasn't going for this, but I'm just going to let it go with the flow. And the point is to let you all know what fibromyalgia does to a person, and the sacrifices and things that they have to make. So stay tuned.